Here's a truth most men never hear. When a woman is serious about you, you won't feel anxious. You won't feel like you're chasing. You won't feel like you're performing just to stay relevant. And if that's what you're feeling right now, it's not because love is complicated. It's because you're missing 8 critical signs that separate real commitment from emotional breadcrumbing. Women think they hide their intentions well, but they don't. Their behavior exposes everything. What they want, who they prioritize, and who they've silently eliminated from their options. So before you invest another ounce of effort into someone who may not truly choose you, let me show you the truth that will save you months, maybe years, of confusion. When it comes to understanding a woman's intentions, most men walk into the battlefield unarmed. Not because they're weak, but because they were never taught that women invest emotionally in a completely different rhythm. While men tend to move in straight lines, women calculate risk. They observe first. They protect themselves first. They rarely declare their feelings outright, especially in the early stages. And that silence? Most men misread it. They confuse hesitation with disinterest, or worse, they cling to any pleasant moment as a sign she's into them, even when she's not. The truth is simple. Women don't reveal commitment through grand statements. They reveal it through patterns, subtle choices, behavioral shifts, the way they allocate attention and emotional energy. A woman can talk to several men at once, but she only prioritizes one. And if you can't tell the difference, you'll find yourself trapped in emotional limbo, holding on to a fantasy she never intended to fulfill. Here's the hard truth. Without a framework, every signal looks the same. That's how men end up wasting months on someone who never planned to choose them. What you're about to hear next isn't random. Each sign reflects how women actually invest, decide, and choose a man when they see real potential. And once you understand that psychology, you'll stop mistaking mixed signals for genuine interest.
Number 1, she's clear about her intentions. When a woman is genuinely serious about you, clarity doesn't intimidate her. It doesn't feel risky. It doesn't feel like she's giving up control. It feels natural, almost inevitable. She won't dance around her emotions or hide behind vague phrases. Instead, she leans in. She'll tell you she likes you. She'll ask where this is going. She'll bring up the conversation most men secretly crave, but rarely hear. What are we? And here's the psychological core behind it. Women only initiate this kind of clarity when they sense emotional safety, when they believe the man in front of them is stable, grounded, and worth betting on. A woman will never try to define the relationship with someone she sees as temporary. She saves that energy for the man she actually envisions in her future. Compare that to a woman who isn't serious. She'll dodge the conversation every chance she gets. She'll change the subject, offer soft excuses, or hide behind the classic line, "Let's just see where things go." Translation: she's keeping her options open. She wants the benefits of your attention without the responsibility of choosing you. Clarity is commitment in its early form. It's her way of closing the door to unnecessary competition. When a woman wants you, she doesn't leave room for confusion. She removes ambiguity before it has a chance to erode the connection. And here's the truth men hate admitting. Women don't fear commitment. They fear committing to the wrong man. When she feels aligned with you, emotionally, mentally, and intuitively, she won't hide it. She'll make sure you know exactly where she stands. Because when a woman truly chooses you, she doesn't whisper. She makes it unmistakably clear. And if she doesn't express it verbally, don't worry. She will express it through action. That leads us into the next sign.
Number 2, she removes competing options. When a woman is serious about you, she doesn't keep one foot in the dating market. She steps out of it, quietly, deliberately, and without making it a spectacle. She doesn't need to announce it with a dramatic speech or a social media cleanse. Her behavior tells the story. She stops swiping. She deletes the apps. She stops entertaining the orbiters who hover around her inbox, looking for scraps of attention. This is what psychologists call self-removal from the market. And it's one of the strongest indicators that she sees the potential for something real. Women don't cut off external validation unless they've identified someone who meets their internal standards for long-term investment. And that someone is you. Sometimes she'll mention it, casually, as if it's no big deal. I haven't been on the apps lately. Or, I got tired of it and deleted everything. But beneath that casual tone is a very intentional message. I've narrowed my focus. I'm choosing to place my energy here. Even more revealing is when she subtly tests your alignment by asking, "Are you still on the apps?" That's not small talk. That's her way of checking whether you're matching her level of seriousness. She wants to know if both of you are stepping into something exclusive or if she's about to invest alone. And here's the truth. Women don't silence the noise for a man they don't value. They don't distance themselves from attention unless the attention they actually want is coming from one source, yours. So pay attention. When her digital world goes quiet, it means her emotional world is starting to focus. And once she stops scanning for alternatives, her brain begins doing something even more revealing. Let's talk about that next.
Number 3, she remembers the micro details. When a woman starts prioritizing you, her mind does something she doesn't consciously control. It begins collecting data, not the big obvious things anyone could remember, but the tiny details most people overlook. The way you take your coffee, the story you told half distracted after a long day, the restaurant you mentioned once and forgot about, the inside joke that slipped out and you assumed she wouldn't notice, but she noticed, and she stored it. This isn't just attentiveness. It's emotional investment in its earliest and purest form. A woman's brain doesn't track details about a man who doesn't matter. It tracks details about the man she's preparing to connect with on a deeper level. That's how she builds emotional intimacy before the relationship is even official, through silent observation and selective memory. You'll see it in the way she follows up. Sending a meme that aligns perfectly with something you said, bringing up that small incident you assumed she forgot, or asking about a plan you casually mentioned in passing. These are not random acts. They're signals that you've moved from background noise to mental priority. Contrast this with the woman who keeps things surface level. She never remembers what you told her. She repeats the same questions. She doesn't connect dots, doesn't follow up, doesn't show continuity. That's because she's not investing. She's merely occupying time. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If she remembers everything, but doesn't actually make space for you in her life, that's not interest. That's manipulation. Memory without action is a tactic, not affection. But we'll get to that distinction later when we talk about fake signals. For now, understand this. When she remembers the smallest parts of you, it's because she's starting to see the bigger picture with you. And that level of detail naturally paves the way for something far more intimate. Let's go there next.
Number 4, she opens the door to deeper conversations. A woman's seriousness isn't revealed through how long she talks to you. It's revealed through how far she's willing to go emotionally. When she's truly invested, your conversations stop living on the surface. They shift into territory that requires trust, self-awareness, and vulnerability. She lets you see the unpolished parts of her fears, her past, her beliefs, her hopes, her disappointments. Not because she wants sympathy, but because she wants connection. And here's what most men don't realize. Women don't expose their emotional core to someone they see as temporary. They may flirt, they may banter, they may keep the vibe light, but they won't open the vault unless they sense real potential. The moment she begins speaking from depth rather than convenience, she's revealing how much weight she places on the bond forming between you two. You'll notice the shift. The conversation stops being a ping-pong of casual updates. It becomes intentional. She asks about your perspectives, not just your plans. She wants to know how you think, not just what you do. She listens with presence, and she gives you space to open up to, not forcing it, but inviting it. When you share something meaningful, she doesn't gloss over it. She receives it. Now, compare that to the woman who keeps everything surface level. She talks endlessly about herself, but dodges anything that requires real emotional presence. She's available for entertainment, not intimacy. And here's the truth men need to face. A woman who sees a future with you will want to understand your inner world. A woman who doesn't will stay on the safe, shallow edges of conversation. When she starts going deeper, she's not just talking, she's investing. And once that investment begins, it shows up in another unmistakable way.
Number 5, she takes the initiative. One of the strongest indicators of genuine interest is simple, measurable, and impossible to fake. She reaches out first. Not occasionally, not only when she's bored, consistently, intentionally, because when a woman truly values you, silence feels risky. She doesn't want distance to grow. She doesn't want another woman to step in. She doesn't want momentum to fade, so she closes the gap before it even forms. She texts you good morning without waiting for yours. She checks in during the day just to hear your voice. She sends you something that reminded her of you. She asks when you're free. She suggests a plan instead of waiting for you to do all the work. These are not random gestures. They're indicators of a woman who is investing, not just responding. And here's the part men often overlook. Initiative reveals priority. If you always initiate, you're not her priority. You're her convenience. But when she begins taking the first step, that's her emotional energy showing. Women do not pursue men they don't care about. They do not chase clarity with someone who's just filling time. There's another layer to this. Watch what happens when you take a step back. If you go quiet for a day or two, a woman who's serious will feel the absence. She'll reach out, not in panic, but in genuine concern. She won't let the connection drift because she's already attached to where this could go. Contrast that with a woman who doesn't truly value you. If you stop initiating, she disappears. No follow-up, no curiosity, no effort. Because she was never investing. She was simply enjoying your investment. But when a woman steps into the role of initiator, it means she's already chosen her direction. And that direction is toward you. And this growing investment doesn't stop with messages. It naturally expands into a deeper, more integrated part of your life.
Number 6, she wants to step into your world. When a woman is serious about you, she doesn't want the connection to exist only in the protected bubble of private conversations and date nights. She wants to see the ecosystem you come from, the people you trust, the environment you move in, the life you live beyond her. This is one of the clearest signs that her intentions are long-term, because it requires vulnerability on her end. She's not just dating you anymore. She's exploring what it means to be part of your life. She shows curiosity about your friends and the role they play. She asks about your family not out of politeness, but out of genuine interest. She doesn't hesitate when you invite her to a casual dinner with your circle. In fact, she's excited, even if she feels a little nervous. That excitement matters. It reflects emotional investment. This desire to integrate is a psychological checkpoint. Women use social context to evaluate compatibility. Meeting your friends gives her insight into your values. Meeting your family helps her understand your emotional foundation. Stepping into your world gives her clarity about where she fits and whether she wants to stay. Now look at the opposite behavior. A woman who avoids your circle, who dodges every invite, who seems allergic to meeting anyone connected to you, that's not shyness. That's distance. And distance is the enemy of commitment. A woman keeping you as an option will protect that distance because it gives her an easy exit. But when she sees a future with you, she doesn't want distance. She wants proximity. She wants understanding. She wants alignment. She wants to know who you are when you're not performing, not flirting, not curating moments, just living. And once she starts stepping into your world, something else begins to happen. She starts envisioning how the two of you fit into a world beyond the present moment.
Number 7, she places you in her future timeline. A woman who's serious about you doesn't just enjoy the present with you. She quietly starts building a bridge into the future, not through grand declarations or dramatic fantasies, but through small, realistic plans that intentionally include you. She'll invite you to a concert happening months from now. She'll mention a holiday and casually ask what you might be doing. She'll talk about events coming up in her life and subtly position you beside her. This isn't impulsive excitement, it's psychological projection. When a woman starts imagining her future, she naturally tests how you fit into it. It's her way of assessing emotional alignment, lifestyle compatibility, and long-term potential. If she can see you there, she invests more. If she can't, she quietly withdraws. And here's how you know it's genuine. The plans she makes are grounded. They're not extravagant or rushed. They're appropriate for the pace of the connection, organic, believable, and matched with consistent behavior in the present. That's the difference between authentic future orientation and love bombing. Love bombing is fast, chaotic, and disconnected from reality. Real future planning is slow, steady, and integrated with who she's already shown you she is. Pay attention to the language she uses when she says, "we should go," instead of, "I might go." That's her shifting from individual to shared experiences. When she brings up something months ahead without hesitation, what she's really saying is, "I don't plan on you going anywhere." Now look at the opposite behavior. A woman who avoids talking about the future, who won't commit to anything beyond next week, who keeps plans vague, that's not caution, that's detachment. People don't build futures with someone they see as temporary. But when she starts placing you in her timeline, that's her signaling stability, vision, and intentionality. And all of those build toward the strongest indicator of all.
Number 8, you are a priority, not an option. This is the point where everything becomes unmistakably clear. When a woman is serious about you, she doesn't just show interest. She restructures her life, even subtly, to make space for you. You'll feel it intuitively before you even analyze it. Her time, her attention, her availability, her effort. It all aligns around the fact that you matter. Not occasionally, not conditionally, consistently. She doesn't make you chase her down for a moment of her time. She doesn't leave you hanging in uncertainty. She doesn't force you to decode fragments of attention. Instead, she communicates, she follows through, and she shows up. If you want to see where you stand with a woman, look at how easily she includes you in her week. A woman who values you will find a way. A woman who doesn't will find an excuse. You'll notice she adjusts her schedule with intention, not by sacrificing her life, but by integrating you into it. She doesn't push you to the edges of her calendar. She brings you into the center of it. Her responsiveness increases, not decreases. Her interest stays steady, not inconsistent. Her actions match her words, and her effort matches her expectations. Now compare this to a woman who keeps you as an option. She becomes available only when it's convenient. She disappears when something or someone more stimulating shows up. She responds just enough to keep you engaged, but never enough to move the relationship forward. That isn't confusion. That's strategy. And the strategy is simple. She's keeping you warm while she looks elsewhere. Here's the truth most men avoid facing. If you're unsure about where you stand, you're probably not standing where you think. A woman who truly prioritizes you removes doubt, not creates it. She doesn't make you guess. She makes you feel chosen. And understanding that distinction is what prepares you for the final piece. Telling real commitment signals from the ones designed to keep you in emotional limbo.
When it comes to understanding a woman's true level of commitment, not every signal deserves your trust. Some gestures feel genuine, comforting, or emotionally charged, but they're hollow when you look beneath the surface. They mimic real interest without offering real investment. And if you're not careful, you can confuse emotional engagement with emotional intention. One of the most common misleading signals is high-volume communication without meaningful action behind it. She texts all day, keeps you entertained, keeps the conversation alive, but when it's time to meet, she becomes vague or unavailable. That isn't seriousness, that's entertainment. Another illusion comes from selective vulnerability. She shares personal stories, opens up emotionally, and makes you feel like you hold a special place in her world. But the moment you steer the conversation toward clarity or direction, she avoids it. That's not true depth. That's emotional comfort without commitment. Pay attention to the kind of future talk she uses. When it's wrapped in humor, "We should go there someday," or "Imagine if we did this," but never turns into an actual plan. She's bonding through fantasy, not intention. It feels intimate, but it's empty. You'll also see this through inconsistent jealousy. She reacts just enough to make you think she cares, yet she never follows through with any desire for exclusivity, or she reaches for you when she's lonely, stressed, or bored, but as soon as her life becomes full again, she pulls away. That's not emotional priority, that's emotional convenience. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Fake signals spark intensity, but collapse under scrutiny. They create connection in the moment, but never convert into meaningful action. Real commitment, the kind revealed through the 8 signs you've already seen, is stable, behavioral, and backed by consistency. It doesn't fluctuate with mood or convenience. It brings clarity, momentum, and integration. It draws you closer instead of keeping you suspended. When you learn to distinguish between the signals that feel good and the signals that mean something, you stop falling for confusion and start choosing truth.
In the end, the truth is far simpler than most men want to admit. When a woman is genuinely serious about you, confusion disappears. Her actions align. Her intentions stabilize. Her energy stops scattering across options and starts moving toward you with purpose. The 8 signs you've just heard aren't guesses or theories. They're the natural behavior patterns of a woman who has made a choice, even if she hasn't said the words out loud yet. She becomes clearer. She becomes consistent. She becomes present. And most importantly, she becomes intentional. That's why you can't afford to mistake attention for investment. Attention is easy. Anyone can give it. Anyone can take it away. Investment, on the other hand, takes effort. It takes vulnerability. It takes risk. A woman won't offer that to a man she sees as temporary. She saves it for the man who shows her steadiness, presence, and emotional reliability. But here's the part that matters most. You deserve to be chosen with clarity, not confusion. With consistency, not chaos. With intention, not convenience. If you constantly find yourself decoding mixed messages, clinging to crumbs, or hoping her behavior means something, then deep down, you already know the truth. She's not choosing you. Because when a woman truly chooses you, you don't need to analyze every detail. The relationship breathes easily. The connection unfolds naturally. Doubt fades on its own. And that leads to one final truth you cannot ignore. If you have to solve a puzzle just to understand where you stand, you're standing in the wrong place. Real interest is obvious. Real commitment is visible. Real intention is felt. So as you move forward, protect your heart. Guard your value. Don't bargain for clarity from someone who benefits from keeping you uncertain. Demand alignment, not ambiguity. Demand action, not empty warmth. Demand a version of love that chooses you without hesitation. If this message woke something in you, if it made you see your situation differently, make sure you subscribe. Like this video if it helped you recognize the truth behind her behavior. Share it with the men who need to hear it. And tell your story in the comments. Your experience may be the one that saves someone else from the same confusion. Protect your heart, guard your value, and never settle for a woman who leaves you guessing.